Well, welcome everyone to the Leader Lowdown. I am so excited to be here with the Tanya Eliza. I know many of you know Tanya, and I had the opportunity to first meet her at one of the Rob's Berry events in Florida. We were in the swamps on an alligator ride, and we went into some little teeny store, and I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" I was like, "That's her." So, gosh, Tanya, I just want to, before I talk about the Leader Lowdown, I really am so grateful that you took of your time. I know you've had so many things going on this summer with building your new house, and you had your family with some fires up there in Kelowna and all the things. But thank you so much for what you do for our community and just for being willing to show up here on the Leader Lowdown. I would love for you to tell our group just a little bit about you and how you got started in the industry.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Joan, thank you for having me, number
Hmm.
one. And that was a really fun trip. This is one of the things that I love about network marketing. Like, we have the most fun ever. If you go out and apply yourself, and obviously we do. So yeah, you're right. Joan came up to me and she's like, "Hi." And then and my husband was there and we were chatting the whole time on this blowing boat with the thing. I don't even know the thing, the fan boat thing, trying to find the alligators. It was so much fun. So we got to meet in a really cool, unique way, and then reached out and was like, "Hey, do you want to do this training?" And I was like, "Yes, let's do it." And look, we didn't even coordinate colors, but look, we pop. It's so amazing. I love
Right,
it.
right,
So
right.
you guys are so lucky to have somebody who invests in you here. And then obviously it is your responsibility to do something with this. So today I hope to add as much value as I can, Joan, to your group, your community, your leaders. But it's really going to be up to you guys to really do something with this. And I'm one of those trainers where I'm a little bit more tactical. So I like to give things that you can immediately go and implement or share with your team. So take some notes, pay attention, but most importantly, do something with the knowledge and education that you get here and everybody everywhere else that you invest time or money. So I don't want to talk too much about myself, but Joan, I will say, yes, I've been in the profession of network marketing since 2009. I used to be a finance specialist. My girlfriend came over and said, she called me up and she's like, "Hey, can you come to my house?" Because this was before internet and social media. It was still back in the day when we were flipping the chart in living rooms. Okay, that's how old I am in network marketing, right?
Someone might
And
be a little older right here.
I know. But when I tell this story, so I was telling this story to Simon Chan at MLM Nation when he interviewed
Yeah,
me, and he was like, "You have to share that you did this. Like, people won't even believe that Tanya Eliza, like the digital marketing network marketer, went to living room and flipped an easel flip chart
right,
and talked about a comp plan and drew circles." And I was like, "I did." And he's like,
right.
"You have to share." And for those of you guys that don't remember those times, thank heavens, you're very blessed and lucky that you have social media to use now to build your business. It's infinitely more, it's not easier, but it's better, I think, because we can reach more people. So
Yeah,
I had a girlfriend share, and I was working in finance at the time, and I was making good money. I just really had no time to spend it because I was working 12-hour days and I was burnt out in my job. And so when I met these people that were making, I think they showed the level on the flip chart that they were at. They were making an average of $400,000 per year. My eyes bugged out. And I was like, "Okay, I make a little less than half that, but I'm working my ass off for this."
dog. Yeah,
I
yeah.
said, "I read a book somewhere that said success leaves clues. Like, I am all ears. Like, tell me what you are doing." Right. And so they said, "Well, we work a few hours a day and here's exactly what we do." I said, "Okay, show me your bank account because I have to make sense of this." I no joke. And I got them to,
You went real deep with them. Okay.
well, they didn't show me their bank account, but they showed me their weekly checks that they were getting. And they flipped open their phone because we were in person and they were like, "Yeah, this was our week." And I was like, "Okay, I am all ears. I am a sponge. Tell me what I need to do. And I think that was like my biggest success tip that I could give back then when I was first getting started in network marketing, because things are different. You have your evolution and your journey in network marketing. But I think for me, I just humbled myself to the process, and I wasn't afraid to just try everything that they told me to do, because I was like, well, I could either try to reinvent the wheel, but these guys already have the system. Like, why don't I just try to go? And
Yeah.
I obviously added my own personality to it. So, anyways, I followed the leader for like a good while. And so that was in 2009. I basically, I don't know if those overnight success stories happen in network marketing. I don't, maybe they do, but if anybody says they're an overnight success, it's not true. Like, we have to put in the work, and it's a business, right? So I was figuring it out. I like to say I was figuring it out. I don't like the word struggle, you guys. I do not like the word challenged. I like the word figuring it out. So I was figuring it out for about a year. And alongside my job, trying to make it work, it was difficult because I had a difficult job, I'm going to say that, to make network marketing work, but I was really determined. And I was probably making, I don't know, like 500, $600 a month at the time. It wasn't that much in my network marketing company, but it was something. And I was like, okay, I see this working. And I got a call in April of 2010 from my mother, and I was living in Vancouver, Canada at the time. I get a frantic call. It's super early in the morning, like 6 o'clock. And my mom can hardly talk. She's all choked up. And she was able to choke out that my stepfather, who is considered my father, had a stroke, and he was being rushed to the hospital. And so it's a 4-hour drive to get to where I was living, to where she was living. And I remember like just hopping in the car with my pajamas on, not even like packing a bag, and just like driving to go and see the family. And I ended up having to call my job as a finance manager. And I said, you guys, I don't know when I'm going to be back. I just have to deal with family stuff right now. And when I got there, my dad was in the ICU, and unfortunately, the stroke was so bad, he didn't make it. And that was Good Friday of 2010, which was like one of the worst days of our lives, because my mom and my dad were like best friends. They were inseparable. They did everything together. So I saw my mom's heart just be like ripped out. And we had to be there. My sister and I had to be there for her and give her support. But unfortunately, being there, I think we were there for 3 weeks. We weren't working, like, or I wasn't working. So what happens when you're in a job and you don't work? You don't get paid, right? So I obviously wasn't pulling a check from work, and I was pulling a check from my network marketing company. And I was like, at that moment, I had this aha moment where I was like, oh my gosh, like, I am getting paid. I'm not having to work to get paid. And my dad just demonstrated that at 61 years young, healthy as all could be on the outside, biked every day, worked out, ate pretty well. Anything could happen like that. And life is so short. And I said, so I don't want to really be stuck in an office all day long. I was like, what if I could make this opportunity with network marketing that is on the table in front of me? What if I could actually really do something with that? And so that was like my line in the sand moment in 2010. I drew a line and I said, I'm going to figure out how to make this work. And that's also the same year that I started to learn how to use social media, before social media was even popular inside the network marketing space, and using internet marketing to try to get myself in front of people who are looking for the benefits of my products and services. And I think I was one of the very first people out there with a YouTube channel that was a network marketer that was teaching other network marketers what I was doing. And I was just freely sharing. So, long story short, from then to now, it took me about 4 years to build a really good, significant income. And when I say that, I mean like 6 figures plus. So it took me about 4 years to get to the 6 figure mark. And for me, I thought that was pretty cool. And now we coach and train other entrepreneurs and network marketers on how to build their business online. And we've gone on to build a multiple 7 figure branded business. I am still in network marketing. I love the profession. I'll never leave. And I'm a multiple 6 figure earner there in network marketing as well. So that's a long to short story.
Oh, well, first off, gosh, for those of you listening, let's drop a heart in the comment. Let's give it up for Tanya. And that's, I wrote some notes down here when you shared your story, because I know there's many people listening that when you start a business like this, you start with typically excitement. Everybody, I don't care who it is, you've got some kind of a dream, whether you say it out loud or not. There's usually a measure of success that someone signs up for. And, as you were sharing your story, and Tanya, by the way, you don't even know this, haha, but our stories are kind of similar. I was working as a corporate executive at Nordstrom, and I loved my job. I made great money. I was making 6 figures plus there way back in 2001. And, I felt kind of like you. I thought, I love what I do, but I am exhausted. I had a 6-year-old son and I wanted freedom. And, the funny thing is, 3 years later, I still, every day when I go out, I am so thankful for my freedom. I don't have to put on tights or lipstick only if I want to, right? And I can work out when I want to. Anyway, the other thing that you said is, you know what? I followed the process, right? You humbled yourself, you said, to the process. And I have said this over and over, but this is a clue, guys, for you out there. The first 24 hours after I said yes, I tried to think of different ways that I could do the business. And I literally had a pit in my stomach. I was like, I'm going to have to make outbound reach outs. Like, people come to me when I was at Nordstrom, right? And it gave me a sick stomach. So I just remember thinking, Joan, make a 90-day commitment to follow the success plan. And had I not done that and went through all those discomforts, I wouldn't be here today. I guarantee you, because I know that put me on the trajectory of success. So, Tanya, I've got a whole lot of questions to ask you today. Tanya's going to really cover how to monetize sales on social media. And I thought this is such a perfect topic because not only is she the queen and the genius, but we're going into the very best selling season. And you could walk away here with some tips that literally can transform not only your business, but your life. So I want to draw a card. All right, we're upside down. We've got our Ignite the Light cards, and this is just something I want you, Tanya, to think on the cards. So we're going to have Tanya, she's all in a think mode, what she needs. Here we go, and let's see what we got. Well, isn't this just lovely? Because sometimes when we get down and out, we forget that the big picture is always perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And so let me read that. I may need more patience in my life. I may need more faith, but I know that I'm right on time. Everything is happening in God's perfect timing. God is in control. Flip the switch from seeing difficulties to seeing the big picture of God's timing in my life. Everything is happening in perfect order. Breathe, let go, and feel good. Tanya, beautiful card you pulled. How does that speak to you?
Oh my gosh. So this is so freaking timely for us. So it was my husband's 41st birthday the other day. So we were out on the boat. And that's all he wants to do for his birthday. He's like, I'm happy. Take me out on the boat. I'm on the lake. Right. So
Yeah.
we go on the boat. And I looked over at him and I actually filmed him. I said, we like to capture moments. So, by the way, biggest pro tip, side note, capture as many moments in your journey as you can. You never know when you want to go back and look at those. They're a great memory to have and they're part of your story. Whether you're in a place that you want to be right now or not, document your journey. It'll inspire people. So I looked over at him and I pointed the camera, I hit record, and I said, babe, you're 41. How does it feel? And then, he told me. And I said, what was one of the biggest lessons that you have learned, or the biggest enlightenment moments that you've learned in the last year? And he said, well, I think it has been learning patience. And I said, with me?
Yeah,
God,
right.
no, not with
Not
me.
with me. Yeah.
No, he said, and this was so crazy because he said it's with the house. So right now, you may or may not know, we're building a house, as Joan said. It's fully custom. We were talking a little bit about before we came live. And I said, oh my gosh, tell me more. He says, yes. He says, because everything you think is going to work doesn't, and everything you think isn't going to work does. And it's quite a mental challenge, right? For patience. And building a house, you guys, is exactly like building a business. I thought about this as I'm walking around, right? Because it took us 3 months. And I thought this was absurd. I think it took 3 months to get the right things in place, permits, the well, everything, just to lay the foundation, to pour the foundation. That foundation needed to be as strong, all the rebar, all the concrete. We had to pay an extra $10,000 for the stupid concrete thing that got, it was crazy. We just spent all this extra time, all this extra money just to make sure that that foundation was stable. And you want your foundation of your house stable. Like, that is not the sexy part of the house, is the foundation, but it is the most important. And I was like, man, that's exactly like a business, right? So like Joan said, and then all the fancy stuff, like right now we're at the point of the house where they're putting in tile, and we went there today and we looked at it and I was like, oh, I'm so excited to see the tile. The
Right.
tile is not going to be the longevity piece of the house. All right. This is just the fancy thing. All right. So I equate it as this, right? You have fundamentals in your business, which is your foundation. Those are never going to change. They're always going to be the same, right? They're always going to be the same. And then you have all of the fancy stuff that makes it look pretty, right? And these are typically the tactics, right? TikTok, Reels, these things may come and go. They're fancy for a moment, but if you just spend time learning the tactics and you don't spend the time learning the fundamentals, you are going to have a very weak business that pays very inconsistently, if at all. So my philosophy, Joan, and every time I help somebody see the bigger picture of building a business, network marketing is a business. It's a willable asset. It is a big deal, treat it as such. You need to understand what those fundamentals are, because if you understand those fundamentals, you can execute those fundamentals correctly. You can take that into any tactic and have a lot of success. And doesn't matter those fly by night tactics that you don't know is going to be here. Do we remember Snapchat? I don't know. Do people still use Snapchat? I
Yeah.
don't, right? Maybe the kiddos do. I don't know. But if you take the fundamentals to each different thing, you will absolutely have success. So patience is something that we definitely have had to learn in the house build, but it's the exact same thing when it comes to building your business. And I think that's the problem with the network marketing space, because I do work with a lot of entrepreneurs even outside of the network marketing space, and the mindset is quite different and interesting. Network marketers, I don't know what it is, but they come in maybe because it's not a big investment, like monetarily. So they come in and they're like, I want to make $1 million overnight, but I don't want to invest any time or money to do it. And it's like, where in the world, so I think we really need to get our mindset corrected, in a sense of setting up our people as leaders, right? Like, you're the leader of your team. You have to set the mindset up for success and then teach the fundamentals, because with that, you're going to be building a very strong foundation for your whole team. You're going to be really setting up people for success. And they're going to stay with you, because nowadays with social media, it's it's a catch-22. It's really amazing, but then it also exposes people to so many different shiny objects that you have people jumping from this thing to this thing to this thing
Right.
to this thing, and there's just no commitment anymore. But if you
Mhm.
dig deep and you sew into somebody and you actually teach them the right mindset, the right fundamentals, set their expectation up, and do these things and spend a little bit of extra time with your people, they're not going to go anywhere. At least the right people won't, and they'll stick with you. And that's how you build a very solid team in network marketing, which we really have to focus on these days. We have to dig deep.
Yeah. Tanya, you said so many amazing things, and I know that this audience here is loving what you're sharing. I want to go back to, you know, your husband with the patience, and by the way, happy birthday to him. I bet you guys had a great time on the boat. But people join, like you said. I mean, I'm with my fourth company, and I've been doing this a few years, and you know, they want that immediate success. And I think you can have immediate sales and you can attract people to your team. But if we don't repeat over and over those fundamentals, the success strategy at the different companies, um, really we're building on a foundation of sand, because then you're kind of everywhere, right? And since we're talking really about monetizing, I know for me, even way back before there was any social media, I did what you're saying. I followed this plan and I did the 2 or 3 things every single day. And I was just telling Tanya, hey guys, if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't be here right now,
Yep.
for sure. So talk to that person that's struggling with, maybe they've got their hands in a lot of different things, but they're not really making the sales, or they're not really growing in their organization. What would be some of the immediate things they could do today?
Yeah, so I can share exactly what I did.
Yeah,
So that might be, instead of like hypothetical, this is maybe what you should do.
right.
Like, I'll just share with you exactly what I did. So this is, Joan, it's funny. We're so parallel because this is my fourth company that I'm into, right? And I joined the company that we're in 2017. So it was December of 2017. Before joining, I swore I was never going to do network marketing again in my life.
You and I have like a same
Yeah.
story almost.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
My previous company had all these, a great company until it wasn't, had all these financial troubles, and the way that they communicated it to their representatives was very unprofessional, and it was just tainted, right? I had worked so hard there, and then to see it all kind of go to nothing, and everybody getting angry, and they're angry at you. So anyways, I had a little bit, like John Milton says, network marketing PTSD.
Right. Yeah, right.
But
I
here was my,
say, whoever has felt that way, drop a one in the comments, because I think, gosh, there's got to
yeah,
be people, right?
yeah.
I'm
And
noticing all these people commenting. So drop a one. And Tanya, carry on. Sorry about that.
no, yeah, and so a lot of us are in the same boat. I'm probably preaching to the choir, right? So here was my problem. I was teaching people how to build network marketing, and I said, if I don't do network marketing, I'm a hypocritical trainer. Like, I just am. I know there's people out there that are not in network marketing that are training network marketers, but that just wasn't me. Like, I wanted to be, I loved the profession so much that I did not want to be in it. I love the camaraderie, I love the team, I love everything about it. So I said, I need to find something that works with me. So, made a few calls, talked to some leaders, found where I am today. And when I joined, I was starting at zero. Okay. Yes, you hear about people that bring teams when they're moving, and there's nothing wrong with that. I just was in an interesting situation where I couldn't necessarily bring all my team at one time. Like, I could talk to my personals, but that was about it. I wanted to be
Right.
respectful of everybody. So I made some phone calls. But actually, here's what I did. So I said, you know what? Here's my chance to build my story. And my story is what's going to sell and inspire other people. So I need to do it in a way that relates to other people. And that's really, really important to me. So what I did, even though I had a big brand at that time in 2017, I was still, 7 years into my online brand. I had an email list, I had a big following. I did not want anybody to say to me, well, it was easy for you because you had this big following. So I decided to write my story, and here's how I did it. I went on a 90-day run. Funny how you said that, Joan, in the beginning, because I made myself a goal to hit one of the top levels of our company in 90 days. And what that level of the company was 100,000 points of product in 1 month from you collaboratively with your team. That was what I knew. So, number one, you have to have the direction that you want to go. So, know your levels, right? Know the level that you want to go to, and know the basic number of what you have to visualize every day to get you there. So for me, I just saw this 100,000 points. All right. Now
Right.
I know there's 5 other million different facets of that comp plan that you get paid on. I didn't care. I was like, 100,000 organizational points. That is all I'm shooting for. 90 days go. So here's what I did. I use Google Sheets, but you can use a spreadsheet. You can use a notebook. You could use the back of your hand. Probably don't use the back of your hand, but whatever. You could use nothing fancy. Doesn't have to be fancy.
Right.
I had a spreadsheet on Google Sheets. I had 2 columns. One column said name. The other column said notes. Name, notes. That's all I really cared about tracking, because I don't really like tracking. Number one, I think it confuses and bogs people down, but I just needed something to call my asset in my business. So what I did was I wrote down, guess what? The names of the people that I wanted to share the business with. Now, for me, I was actually, and I know we've got leaders on here. For me, I was interested in building the business. So I knew that I was going to go out and talk to these people about the business opportunity and partnering together and linking arms and building this thing from the ground up together. Like that was my position with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I made sure, and this was my goal. I said, all right, and I talked to my leadership too, to make sure that this was a realistic goal. So that might be something that you put as an action item. Talk to your leadership, know what you need to do to hit that number. You can control the activity, but you can't control the result. So you just need to know what activity you need to control every day. And the result comes as a byproduct of that. It's defaulted in that in equation, right? So I said to myself, I'm going to make it a goal to do 5 presentations a day. Like I have to do 5 business presentations a day. And for 90 days, I'm putting my blinders on and I'm going hard. And I even had a conversation with the closest people around me. I was like, look, I might be busy, right? And I don't know really what that's going to look like, but I'm going to have to probably sacrifice some things. But here's the thing, in 90 days, I'm going to hopefully hit my goal, and it's going to mean the world of a difference to like life and business for us.
Mm-hmm.
So every day I was adding names, and every day I was doing our business presentation. Now, whatever your business presentation is for you, for us, it was adding somebody to a Facebook group so they could get the information. And then I would get a decision from them. And so that was like it was really simple. And I do this all through DMs on Facebook, Messenger, right? So sometimes, well, guess what? My neighbor was on that list. I walked over to her house. And so, whatever the means of communication that you have with your people, Tanya Eliza, the digital marketing, social marketing network marketer, was walking over to her neighbor's house. And
Right.
she ended up being one of my biggest business builders and bringing in a huge top earning leg that it would never have happened if I didn't just have the name on the list and go do what I needed to do to get the presentation done. That's
Yeah.
what I did. That was my sole focus. And so where did the names come from, right? They did not come from my email list. I did not do any blasts or anything like that. I literally just thought of people who I wanted to work with. And I then made a focus of, 5 presentations a day. And these were people from my Facebook that we'd been in contact with. We've been chatting. These are people, yes, I talked to people from my previous network marketing company that were fair game, by the way. So full transparency. And then I also just anybody that I could think of. right? That I had a conversation with or whatever, their name went down and I focused on 5 presentations a day. So some days I didn't do the 5 presentations. Like some days you're just going to have a bad day. And
Mhm.
I had many of those bad days, but at least if you have a goal, you're more likely to hit it than not having that goal, right?
Agreed. Agreed.
And so on the names list, so here's what I would do. If I put their name down and then in the notes column, I put the date of when I started conversation with them. And then when I moved them to the next phase, which was ask if they're open to seeing, right, the business opportunity. So I put the date of when I'd asked them if they were open. And then I'd put the date down of when they said that they like if they're they say yes, I'm open. I'd say great, we've got this really fun Facebook group. It has all these exciting like stories and videos in there. I'm going to add you to the Facebook group. That's where you're going to get a bunch of the good information. It'll probably take you 15-20 minutes to go through. How soon do you think that you can go through that information if I add you to the group? So then I get the confirmed time that they would go through the information. That's a very important part of the step, by the way. So if you have a presentation, don't just throw it in front of people without that commitment. But you have to kind of like let them know every step of the process what you're doing and what they're going to expect. That increases your closing ratio. And that's one thing I had to really get good at, Joan, because I sucked at closing in the beginning because I was too scared to do it. You have to get good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to make a couple points because gosh, this is so good. So good. Thank you.
Thanks.
So guys, first off, let's just recap. She's going to keep going, but 90-day run. Hey, we've got, we're in September. How different would your business look if you committed to a 90-day run? Starting today, starting tomorrow, starting in a few days from now. Where would you be going into 2024? So, knowing your comp plan. I love that you said that. We can't get to a destination. We don't get in a car and just start driving around. We know we're going to the grocery store, we're going to San Diego. You got to know where you're going. And I think people get afraid. They kind of just go like, well, you know what? If I could land here, that'd be great. You guys pick it and freaking claim it. Because like Tanya said about something else down the way, even if you don't make it, it's still here. It's still where you want to go. So I love that. You got to know where you want to be at in your compensation plan. And then just the simplicity. You know what? I do so many things on a legal pad. I take notes, active listening. Grab a legal pad. You don't need to strum up all the things, or use the Google Doc, and get your list, the name with the people, the date when you start talking to them. And I love that you said your goal of 5 business presentations. Guys, if you don't have a daily goal to accomplish either selling your products with reach outs or talking about the business, I guarantee you it's not going to happen. So, Tanya, you used a word choice that I picked right up on because I love the open-ended questions. Guys, if you don't want to hear no anymore, then quit asking yes or no questions.
Oh, yeah, for
But
sure.
she said, how soon? So she's assuming, of course, they're going to look at it. She popped them in the group. How soon can you look at this? Adding that urgency piece is so key. And then you're going to get a response. So, Tanya, I just wanted to kind of point out some of these really, I think, high points. Keep going now. So now they get, they get maybe a response back. What happens if it's, what happens if you get ghosted? What do you do?
Well, it'll happen. Yeah.
Right.
It'll happen. I have a 3 message kind of little tiny script that I would copy and paste in those scenarios. And I'm not a really big fan of copy and paste messages, but there's messages that you can have as a template that say,
Yeah,
and then
for
you
sure.
switch it up. So I'm moving so fast through these DMs and another thing to point out, so when my leadership told me this process of putting somebody in a group and doing recruiting and selling all through DMs, I didn't believe that to be true. I
Right.
saw him doing it. I had never done that before. And I was like, there is no way that somebody just joins a business through a DM chat. And I remember the very first time somebody was like, when I asked my closing question, is there anything else you need to know before we get you started? And they were like, "No, let's go." And I like sent them the link through DM, did not have a conversation besides just voice clip messages, sent them the sign up information. They enrolled. I was in my kitchen opening the fridge and got the ping on my phone. And I like jumped up holding the fridge door. And I was like, it works.
Yeah, yeah, right. Well,
So,
and
yeah,
let's just say this, guys. Tanya's been doing this since 2009. I've been around since a little before that. I mean, hey, things change.
yeah,
But you were opened to doing the thing.
yeah.
She used the words, I humbled myself. If you wouldn't have done this, Tanya, what do you think would have happened? What if you wouldn't have?
So, success loves speed.
Yeah.
And I knew that the faster I can build that foundation in network marketing,
Yep.
not only do I have a really great story that I can use as a tool in my business, your story is your own tool. You also create a foundation where the snowball, you're pushing it up, pushing it up, pushing up the hill. And then at some point, it just crests the top and it goes and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger without you. That's the beauty of network marketing. So I'll explain two things just on why you want to have that list because I think this is really important. That's that Google sheet or just the two columns or whatever, however you keep track. Most people wake up when they have their own business and they sit down and they look at their phone or their screen and they go, what do we do right now? Like there's no plan of action. And then we spend too much time thinking about what we need to do versus doing the thing that we need to do that makes us money. So what that sheet does for me is every time I had a 1 hour, and by the way, Joan, I forgot to mention this, but I run a big marketing company. So I didn't have a lot of extra time. And I said, I'm going to do this in 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. I put my timer on my phone and I got busy and I got busy with my list and my money making activities. So I hit like my
Okay, Tanya, wait. For everyone listening, you did this 90-day run in 1 hour a day.
2 hours a day. So
Two,
1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. Yeah.
two guys,
Yeah. Yeah.
2 hours a day. All right.
Yeah, 2 hours a day. But if you're very, very diligent in what you're doing in those 2 hours, you'd be very amazed. You surprise yourself on what you get done. It's all about just focus. So I had focus. My focus came by the timer on my phone. So it gave
Yep.
it urgency. There was like something in there when I hit the go. I was like, oh, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Right. Because I
Right.
only have an hour. And if you don't do that, it's there's a mental connection that you give when you only have like, why do you cram for a test when you were in high school or college? And it works. Is it the best way to do it? No, but it works. So this was like me cramming. I was like, psychologically, I only have 1 hour. Boom, hit it. And it triggered something. And I was like, go time, right? So but then instead of sitting there going, go time on what? Right.
Right.
I was like, I go to my list. So my list is there. I'd look at the names and then I would go to the notes section and I'd see where that person was in the process that I ended them on my last work session. And I go in there and I dig into the next phase with them. So it's like if Mary is on my list and it shows on my thing that I added her yesterday to the Facebook group, that means I need to go into Messenger, immediately go to Mary and see if she responded, or I need to follow up with her. So that kept me going in the flow. And then when I got down my list on following up with everybody and taking them to the next phase in the process, what I ended up doing was, okay, now I've got to go add more people to the list. I'd go and look who commented on my post. Who can I start conversations with, right? Because in your money making activities, everybody should be doing one value post every single day. And it doesn't have to be to sell something. It could be just to talk about something or share a story. And then there's people commenting and liking, and those people are actually hitting the list. And I'm starting conversation with them. I'm asking if they're open. I'm asking when they can take a look. I'm putting them through the process. I'm saying, hey, do you see an opportunity for yourself? Okay, yes. Okay, no. Like, I didn't care if people were like a yes or a no. I just wanted to either highlight them on my list as a yellow or a red. Yellow means they said yes. Red said they said no. And I didn't care. I just needed to get a color on there. And you guys, it's funny. Joan, I had no idea this was the direction of our conversation today. If I knew, I would have actually brought my list to show you guys. Basically, on my list, you would not even believe, because you think like, oh, these leaders that are so, they have so many followers, they have, they're influencers, blah 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 blah. You're like, oh, everybody joins you, it's so easy. That is not the case. I've
So,
got more no's than yeses, and I can prove it on my spreadsheet. But the
yeah,
more no's you have means the more you win, because the
yeah,
more yeses you have. It's just a numbers
right.
game. It's true. Like, I don't really love that saying. It's kind of cliche, but it is. It's just a
But
numbers
it
game.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. Because if you are interested in enough people, if you've got and again, I'm just going to say this, most people think they've got to have like the perfect product, the perfect company, the perfect blah, blah, blah. Hey, if you have enough people to talk to, eventually what happens is you get more comfortable and you get to the yeses, because there's people out there with needs and wants, and your company, you are the solution to
Mhm.
that. And I'm sure, Tanya, like again, what I'm cracking up about is I was thinking my own self when uh I had been out of well, I wasn't out of the industry, but I'd taken on a corporate role, and then I was doing some consulting. So when I came back into the industry in like 2018 in the field, I was basically starting again, my third company. And do you know, I did something very similar. I sat down, my dad was watching a Seahawks game, and I was too, because that was part of the things that we used to love to do together. And I literally had a piece of paper like this. And I just started writing I put a timer on my phone, and I just started writing all the names that came to mind without judgment. If it came up here, I got it on the paper. I didn't overthink it. I just raced the clock. So, gosh, Tanya and I haven't even talked about our stories, guys. We were on the alligator deal. But the truth is, these so many things, it's just confirmation of what works.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, all right.
Yeah. And then, so the activity is that, I mean, you can control all of that activity. Like, you have full control over that activity. And then what happens is when you start going through that activity, you suck at first, you
Right.
get really good, right? So the only reason why I'm really good at closing now, and I'm really good at starting conversation and putting people through the process, is I've done it thousands of times, right? That's the only difference between somebody who's really good at something and somebody who's not yet. It's just the experience and amount of practice times, right?
Right.
And you can't skip that. Like, people can't skip that. Now, what we can do as leaders for our team and also for ourselves is we have to understand a little bit, not everything, but we have to understand the fundamentals to gain confidence. Because I
Sure.
don't know if you guys have experienced the same thing in the comments. If you have, let me know. Where like you enroll somebody and then they freeze because they don't know what to do and they don't have confidence. So you have to help build some confidence. And what I've learned is that if you can give some templates for people to follow and then teach them the psychology of those templates. So just the same as like Joan says, like, yeah, you don't want to ask like, hey, what did you think? Because then they can go in any million five different directions. You want to say, what did you like best?
Yep.
Right. And
It's
then, yeah,
Tanya, it's like leading the witness. No,
yes,
but the truth is, we want them to focus on what they did like best.
yeah,
That's skills. I
yes.
mean, right?
Exactly. And then, like you said before, is active listening, because you need to listen to what they're saying. Now, here's a pro tip for my leaders that are on the call, and they're tuning in. I have learned the color personalities a long time ago, right? There's many different personality tests. The color personality test I love the most, because if you can train your team, this is the easiest thing to train, but it's very advanced at the same time. If you can train your team to listen for color code personalities, you can have higher closing percentages based on knowing the personality that you're dealing with and how to talk to them. So the different color personalities, you have red, green, blue, green. All right. Red, blue, green, yellow. Sorry.
Yeah,
Red.
yeah.
So red, blue, green, yellow. So red personality type, they're very motivated, they're money motivated, they're driven, they're ambitious, they're your A types. Okay. So then you've got blue. These guys are motivated by fun and excitement, group stuff. They're extroverts. They love group settings. They like parties. The yellow personality type is they're very helpful and they love charities, they love volunteering, they love just like giving and feelings and all that, right? Like that's a yellow personality. And then your green personalities are analytical types. So they need to know the details, the numbers. Typically, they're asking you about the details of the comp plan, and then they trip you up and you're like, oh, but you got to know what those are. And so when you ask somebody after you've shown them your business or product presentation, it works for both. You ask them, what did you like best about what you saw? You're going to listen. If they don't give you enough information, ask them again. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Tell me more. You want to extract more from them. You want to get them talking about more of those things that they love. It's all psychological, but it helps in a good way. And then you're listening for language that can help you distinguish which personality type they are. And the yellows are going to typically say they really like the philanthropic part of the presentation that they saw, or the giving or the charity, whatever your network marketing company has. Reds are going to be like, oh, I liked the, bonus structure or this incentive that they do, or the comp plan or whatever. The blues are, oh my gosh, I like the events and the parties, or I saw you guys are doing a cruise this year. That looks fun. And then the green personalities are going to be like, tell me anything detail oriented, right? And you're listening for that, because then you can approach the closing with that same language if they have objections. And sometimes they have objections, which I call questions, but you may not as well. So when they say they love this, they love that, they love this, great. Is there anything else we need to know before we get you started and rocking and rolling with us? Do not be afraid to ask that question, right? And that's your close question. I don't say, are you ready to get going? Are you ready? No, I say, is there anything else you need to know before we get you rocking and rolling with us? I think this is going to be really fun for you. And then they will say either yes, and then you'll be like, oh, awesome. What do you do now? Like that was the first, yeah, like that was me.
Yeah.
In the beginning. And then, or they'll say, I have a question about this or this, right? And then you can collect all their questions up front, which is typically what I like to do. I don't let somebody do a fire shoot of questions at me back and forth. I say, okay, cool. So you have some questions. I'm going to collect them. And then if I'm able to answer them to the best of your knowledge and satisfaction, would there be anything else you need to know before you get started? And that way I don't sit and, this is again advanced, doing many calls and many DM stuff. I don't want to get into answering a half hour of someone's questions when they never had any intent to take the next step with me in the first place, because it's a bunch of waste of everyone's time.
So let me say a couple things. So I love what you're sharing. We didn't know which way this was going to go, but I believe that the way that it went is what people need.
And fundamentals.
Right? And right now, truly, there are so many people out there that need a business like yours. So if we don't have the confidence to begin having these conversations, we're missing opportunities to serve. So I want to say something real quick about what you said. I love the way that you talked about that question. What did you like best? Guys, this is something you can start today. You can write that question down, and then you can also write down the red, the blue, the yellow, the green. I'm wearing green. I am not that girl who is uh, analytical. However, I like color. But the truth is, these are huge things right here. And if you begin practicing this, your confidence is going to continue to elevate. So, Tanya, when you would say that to them, is there anything else? Did you notice like at first you'd be spending way more time and then you were able to close the gap on
Yeah,
the
you learn this when somebody I don't want to say like waste your time, but for lack of better words, like it was just a whole big waste of everyone's
sure.
time.
Yeah,
You learn like I don't want to ever have that happen again. So what's
right.
the solution to this? And that just comes from experience. So, one of my more advanced trainings would be, yeah, definitely collect all of the questions up front, and then
Yeah.
I'm typically sitting there making a list of them too, or if you're in DM, they're already there. And then I go and then I reiterate back to them. I'll say, okay, great. I got all these questions. Is there anything else that you
I
would need
like
to
that.
know?
Any
Anything else? Like I get to the last little thing because I know if I spend time answering them all, I want to know that the time is going to be worth it for them and me. Right.
right, right.
And sometimes I've even told that to a prospect. I would say, "Hey, listen, like I'm going to be more than happy to answer all these questions and if you're satisfied with them, I just want to know that we can take the next step and you're ready for that. So if I'm able to answer all these questions and you're 100% satisfied, would you be in a position to get started today?" And
Okay.
I'm very bold on that.
I
Yeah.
love that. Now, you guys write this down. If I'm able to dot dot dot, would you dot dot dot. So those are huge. Those are selling questions, and you can fill in the blanks with whatever it is. They even work with products you're selling, right? So it's whatever it is. And I love that you shared that. All right. Do you guys know that I said to Tanya, well, geez, it'd be a little over 30 minutes. And now I look at, I'm totally, we're just, we're sucking up your time here, but we're so
Okay.
grateful. Tanya, I got a couple questions. So you mentioned that you have a 3-step template. Is that something that if people wanted to find you that they could grab that template, or is that something that maybe you'd
Oh.
share with me? No, that screenshot.
Yeah. So, I have a couple. It's funny because we were talking about the importance of threes, like the number
Yeah,
three before we hit to go live.
right.
That's crazy. So I don't have that's a really good resource to create. And I'll do that. I have a 3-step message formula for reaching out to social media
Oh,
comments and things. Yeah.
and maybe that's what I was talking about. Yeah, like so when they're, because what I'm finding is there's a lot of people, even it, more mid-range leaders and leaders that they don't have those systems.
Mhm.
So they might be messaging 4 and 5 times, lacking urgency. I'm just thinking, how could we help them?
Yeah, that is I will get you the link to that, and if you wanna post it,
I will drop
um
it in this comment. I'll come back and do that. All right.
yeah, I'll get you the right one. I've got one link here, but I just wanna test it and make sure that it still goes to the right place. But
Okay.
yeah, it's my 3-message social media formula I use when I'm conversing with a potential customer online that moves them into a sale without sounding salesy. So, that works really well. It's been one of my most popular free resources, so I'll get that over to you guys, and then you can post it for the community. So yeah, Joan, thanks for asking for that. And
Uh-huh.
then, if you get ghosted, it'll happen. Like it will. People will just ghost you. And I typically send like one message to say, "Hey, just wanted to check in. Did he get a chance to watch all of the information I put you in?" The other one is if I don't hear them, be like, "Hey, I just wanted to make sure that you're okay."
Yeah.
Just because we connected and I try to use the like,
Yeah.
sympathy because I've had things where people really have had stuff go on
Right.
and we give them grace. And then my last message, so that I can at least get something crossed off on my list, because that's like my goal, is I'll say, hey, listen, I'm going to just cross you off my list for now. And if at all you see an interest later on when you get back to this, just let me know. But for now, I'm going to cross you off my list. I actually say I'm going to cross you off my list twice
Yeah.
in that same message, because nobody likes being crossed off a list that they did not cross themselves off of. And again, it's psychological. They tend to reach back and say, oh my gosh, blah, 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 whatever happened. So that's my 3 message ghosting formula. But here's the thing, Joan. The biggest thing is what happened after those 90 days. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you guys, like, I had this goal, right? 100,000 volume points organizationally between me and my team, 90 days. That was my goal. I ran so hard and I put like my blinders on for this. Like, I was like building my foundation. I had the axe pick and everything. I don't know. You don't even use an axe pick for a foundation. Never mind. Unless you're digging the hole
Well,
manually.
hey, axe pick, shovel, I don't know, but yeah, I get it.
I'd say backhoe, but like I'd probably hurt somebody with that thing. This girl does not need to be operating heavy duty machinery like that. But
You can tell she's in the house building mode. I've been there. I hear all these little innuendos.
innuendos, yeah, exactly. But anyways, so I hit the goal in 128 days. So, oh no, it was 102 days. Sorry. So we were 12 days past the 90 days,
Past the 90
but we
days.
still hit it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, if we didn't have that though, what are the chances of us even getting close? We wouldn't. We just
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Right.
And from that, yes, we hit the first top level of the company. There's like 3 or 4 now. They keep raising it because everyone keeps crushing numbers. But that was the first top level of the company at the time in 2017, which was 2018 when I hit it. And since then, that foundational volume that I have grown has really snowballed. Now, this can't is it doesn't happen to everybody like this. But if you go after people that you want to work with, you talk to them, you are recruiting up, right? The socioeconomic ladder, right? So you're going after people that, you're having conversations with people that do have influence, or, are maybe you scale yourself at a 5 on the socioeconomic ladder out of a 10, and you're going after 6, 7s, 8s, right? Like, get out of your comfort zone. I had to get out of my comfort zone.
Right.
And that work that I put in for 102 days has got us, we've tripled that volume since then. No, we have quadrupled the volume since then, because and hit the top level of the company. And honestly, Joan, like, I don't have to do much recruiting anymore. Like, I still do. I
Sure.
don't have to though, because my team is now just, that's the beauty of network marketing. Like, they're out there just totally crushing it. We have some of the biggest customer getters in the entire company on our team. It's crazy. They're just crushing numbers right now. But none of that would have been happening if we would have like slow burned it and like, drug our feet on it as like success
Right.
of speed. So I encourage everyone to like think about the story that they're writing or rewriting, because guess what? You can restart. Right?
Yeah.
That's the beauty of your network marketing business.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
You can restart, and you
Today.
can just draw a line in the sand. Like Joan said, like, hey, we're coming out. All the kids are back in school,
Mhm.
right? Like, people have extra time at home now. Like, let's get a plan in action. And hey, if you have a team, rally the team together and say, hey guys, who wants to go on this 90-day run together? Like, we're going to do this together. We're going to understand where we're shooting for. And you guys, my story, like, I always have big goals. So I always have to remember, like, not everybody has as big of goals as me. And that is okay. You have your own goals. So even if you're here and you're like, I want to make an extra $1,000 a month, You might not want to make an extra 10,000, but you're like, I want to make an extra 1,000. Then all you need to do is adjust your activity to match that goal. You might not have to do 5 presentations a day. I did because my goal was big. But maybe if your goal is wherever your goal is that you're comfortable with or that you want to shoot for, maybe it's 1 presentation a day. Maybe it's 2 presentations a day. And you decide. That's the beauty of it. You get to pick your goal and then you have that clear path. Then you have to carve out the time in your schedule to actually do it. So, when are your money making activity moments that I like to call it? And then timer it and get to work because it is worth it.
Mm. Oh my gosh. I have to say, this is the longest StreamYard training I've ever
Sorry.
done. No, but here's the deal. I could not thank you enough. I have 4 pages of notes from you, Tanya, and I am so grateful. And I know that everybody out there listening is so grateful. I mean, you gave us such value and such nuggets. But what I love the most, guys, is she gave you stuff that you can go do today. And it's from her own experience. There's nothing more powerful than your own experience. You can create a story just like Tanya did in 90 days by choosing to follow a plan just like this or any part of this plan. So I just want to thank you so much for being willing, for everything that you do for our profession and for sticking with it, because I know firsthand that there are times when the challenges challenge us, and it challenges our mindset. It challenges our, insides and our outsides. And yet those are the very things that strengthen us. So I can't thank you enough. Tanya, where can people find you?
You can Google Tanya Eliza and I will come up. So the best place is actually our YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube, we've got hundreds of free training episodes that will help you grow, scale, and diversify your business and brand, along with a bunch of free resources, because we put a free resource together with every weekly episode that you can download for free and use immediately in your business. So there is a plethora of stuff. So you can also find me on Instagram if you're an Instagram person. And by the way, I do reply to all of my personal Instagram DMs. So if you send me a DM and let me know where you listened, where you found me, what you found value in most, and what you're implementing, and share a little success nugget with me, I would love to meet you and help you out if I can even more. Thanks, Joan.
I love it. Thank you so much. All right, guys, have a beautiful rest of your Wednesday, and we'll be seeing you soon. Thank you.